We are at halftime. We're watching the Band of the Fighting Irish. I'm Jack Nolan along with Jeff Jeffers. And there you see the coach, Ray Meyer, just retired coach of DePaul, a graduate of Notre Dame, and was in fact captain of the basketball team here before moving on to the Chicago College. And he is being honored today by the Monogram Club. So let's go on down to the field and listen to the ceremonies.
This afternoon, on behalf of the Alumni Association of Notre Dame, I have the great honor to make a presentation to one of the great grads of Notre Dame. Joining me today is the widow of Harvey Foster, in whose name this award is being given, Mabel Foster. The Harvey G. Foster Award, presented by the University of Notre Dame Alumni Association to Raymond J. Meyer, class of 1938, who in the spirit of Harvey Foster, class of 39, has rendered exemplary service to his alma mater and has demonstrated a sincere commitment to community service and the needs of his fellow men. Given this 22nd day of September 1984, Terence E. Keating, President, Charles Lennon, Executive Director. To the great coach, Ray Meyer, and his wife, Marge.
For those of you who may not know, Harvey Foster, who passed away last year, was very instrumental in the National Monogram Club, and now Coach Meyer.
I'm very happy and proud to accept this award because I knew Harvey Foster very well. And I'm doubly proud to be here today, not only to accept this award, but to see the real Notre Dame team come forward.
And so another plaque for the Meyer basement, and he has a lot of awards down there.
You are looking at a class act. Ray Meyer is probably the nicest man that I have ever met in sports, and that is not a slam against anyone else. He is someone who will do anything for you at any time, and as objective as we try to be, I know I was heartsick when the Blue Demons disintegrated in the NCAA tournament last year at the end of that game and ended up losing. He's a fine man. He deserves all the accolades he is getting, and the young lady next to him, Marge, is also quite an individual, has given him a great deal of support, helps out with the Ray Meyer basketball camp, which Ray is still involved in, and I'm sure that Joey Meyer will have at least a few discussions with Ray about the basketball team this year.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you watch Marge Meyer at a basketball game, she's into it. She knows the game, and she knows what's going on. And Coach Meyer has always said that his number one booster is his wife, Marge, and now in honor of the coach, the Victory March.
to television. The victors are the Academy Awards of Sports. Since its beginning in 1967, victors have been awarded to such greats as O.J. Simpson, Bobby Hull, Roberto Duran, Slick Barry, the first athlete to win the Victor Award 3 times, Richard Petty, White Stone, Terry Bradshaw, Dr. J. Julius Irving, and on this very stage last year, Jim Craig and Mike Eruzione came here direct from their Olympic triumph. The coach of all of sports, and Tony Danza and Donna Mills. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons Knott's Landing is a great place to visit, and someone who keeps taxi rolling along every week, Donna Mills and Tony Danza.
Now, in the 15-year history of the Victors, special awards have been presented to such sports greats as Dizzy Dean, Bob Feller. One of the best-known cliches is, it's not important if you win or lose, it's how you play the old game. Obviously, the recipient of our next special victor never heard it.
No, for he's one of the winningest active coaches in college basketball, with an incredible string of 650 victories over a period of 39 years.
Now beginning his 40th year at the same university where he began in 1942. He's the epitome of a man in love with the sport. You can't even introduce him by just his name. He is, always will be, Coach Ray Meyer of DePaul University.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the Sportsman Club of the City of Hope, Sports Illustrated, but most of all the players who played for me at DePaul University, or I wouldn't be here tonight. And I'd like to congratulate you people sitting out there who support the City of Hope. I hope you will continue, and in years to come, many, many more will join you in the wonderful work that the City of Hope is doing for us. Thank you very much.
Coming up next.
How does one of Chicago's most venerable and successful sports heroes spend his summer vacation?
And what makes Mike Royko think that he can barbecue ribs better than any other person in town? You'll find out the answers to these questions and more next on Eye on Chicago. And in back of us is the Sun-Times building. This is the Sun-Times Plaza right here next to our beautiful river.
And that's a beautiful fountain.
A lot of nice fountains in town. You're going to love it. Hi, I am Rob Weller, and this terrific woman is Candace Hasty. And Candace, welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Eye on Chicago. How do you like the town so far? And other than moving this summer, what have you been doing?
Well, I love Chicago. It has a great hometown feeling about it.
Yeah.
And since I moved here from Boston, I've had the opportunity to meet quite a few interesting Chicagoans. In fact, we went on vacation with one particular Chicagoan to find out how he tries to get away from it all. He is the acknowledged dean of America's basketball coaches. The 68-year-old DePaul coach has managed to win, and win big over the last 5 years, but the price is high. The frantic pace that Ray Meyer must maintain begins in the early fall and runs through the recruiting season in late spring, a pace that leaves men much younger than he haggard and worn at season's end. How does Ray Meyer relax during the off-season? How does Chicago's legendary coach escape from the pressures of big-time basketball? He flees to the beautiful north woods of Wisconsin, where far from the incessant grind of coaching basketball, he does what he finds most relaxing. He coaches basketball.
Emphasize the follow-through. So when you get your shot through, look at your hand. If it's down here, you're doing it wrong. If it's up here with your hand closed, you're wrong. But if it's up here reaching for the basket, you're right. All right, roll it up. Now you put your hand on top of the ball. Coaching here at camp is vastly different than coaching in college. There is no pressure, and you really have a lot of fun with the youngsters because you get to know them all by name. You have the ball here. I want you to balance it. And here, Butterball, you do it. You're the littlest guy out here. If you can do it, they all can do it. Bounce it, do it, and up. That's it. You understand?
Ray Meyer's boys' camp is nestled serenely along the shores of Little Fork Lake, just outside of Three Lakes, Wisconsin, a 7-hour drive north of Chicago. The camp has been in existence for 37 years. Like modern-day basketball's answer to Abe Lincoln, Ray Meyer himself cleared the land that his camp now occupies.
The spot you're on was all the forest. I was young then, probably foolish, and I cut these trees down by hand with an axe. And many of these cabins are built out of the lumber off this field. So 37 years ago, we started out with 2 cabins, and now we have about 9. And it's really very amazing and very pleasant for me as I go about the country with the DePaul team. Boys will come up to me, I shouldn't say boys, men, and they'll say, "Remember me? I was at your camp in 1950. No, son, you're putting the ball in front of your eyes. You can't see. You'd have to have a see-through ball.
The operation of the camp has become a family affair for the Meyer clan. Sons Tom and Joey help with the coaching chores, and it's not unusual for the new family home alongside Little Fork Lake to be filled with additional Meyer children, in-laws, and grandchildren.
Coaching my grandsons, I have a lot of fun with them. I sometimes pick on them, and their mothers get mad at me, but all in all, kept me real young, being around the young people. No, you pivot. This is not a pivot. This is shot. Oh, I know that. Go. Go. Hit him. Go. The basket, son. No, your man went. Hold it. Your man went to this side as you faked. You were here. You faked out here. Your man jumped way over here. Now you turn back that way. He's here. Where should you go? That's right.
The camp is open to boys ages 10 through 18, and Ray Meyer is keenly aware of the difference between teaching Terry Cummings the sophisticated zone press and the rudiments of the jump shot to a 6th grader.
At DePaul, you figure the boys have learned most of the fundamentals through the grade schools and the high schools, and in reality they have. But here you're teaching the fundamentals. You're much more the teacher here at camp than you are at school. At the school, you're molding players into a team. Here, you're not doing that. You're not molding a team. You're molding individuals. Here, I don't assume anything. I just figured they don't know anything. Good, you got him on his back. Nice going, nice turn. You're learning. Good.
Although most of the action takes place on the outdoor basketball courts, some of the wildest scenes take place in the mess hall during the lunchtime mail call. It's an activity that's become a camp tradition.
John Fitzgibbons. Tom Began. Mary's writing. You want us to read it, Tom?
With all the fresh air and fresh faces, it's not hard to understand why Ray Meyer enjoys the North Woods. But one question remains unanswered. Why would a basketball coach basketball on his vacation?
Because I like it and I enjoy it. And to me, running the camp is enjoyment, not work. It's kept me real young, being around the young people. I feel that it's great therapy for me. If he's not free, son, don't give him the ball. Nope, you don't pivot, son.
Despite the fact he sees his role at camp as being that of a teacher, no one ever said that teachers weren't allowed to yell occasionally, especially when the teacher has yelled just as loudly as some of the greatest basketball players in Chicago's history.
I've been doing that ever since I've been up here. And somebody gave me a beautiful brick down, I have it downstairs, and it says, "Coach, keep yelling with a smile."
This gym has been like home for Coach Ray Meyer, but at the end of the season, he'll retire, and home may never be the same. This is the style of solid basketball that gives the DePaul Blue Demons a winning tradition. And this is the man who has made that tradition part of basketball history, Ray Meyer. After an illustrious 42-year career as head coach and with over 700 wins, the king of college basketball will retire from the throne at the end of this season. His successor will be his #1 assistant coach and his #2 son, Joey.
I don't worry about succeeding Ray Meyer because he is so big and his accomplishments are so big that I'm never going to attain those, so I don't even think about him. I do feel a lot of pressure succeeding in this type of program, this type of environment, a top 10 program in the country. I feel that kind of pressure. I'm excited about it, and I'm really anxious to do it. You know, you got to see both at the same time. When you turn and locate one thing, he's just going to flash, you're going to get beat.
In spite of Joey's close familiarity with the game, his coaching interest still comes as a surprise to his mom and dad.
Played out.
I didn't expect Joey to be a coach.
Joey was always the athlete in the family. He was the better athlete of the three boys. And he was always in all the sports. He was just an all-around athlete. But naturally, I never thought of him into coaching.
Joey is so well qualified and diversified in many facets that I don't know if that's the right decision, but it's his decision. If he's happy, I want him to be a coach.
Ball to your man. That's it. See him both. Concentrate, Marty. That's it. Circle him. That's it, Marty. Good job. I had no intention of coaching, but it was a way to get my degree. Coach, I think I cooked on it. And I just gradually got progressive to it, but there was no time, even up till maybe and this was really my profession.
Joey's opportunity is in fact his greatest challenge. As head coach of one of the nation's premier basketball programs, he'll be only the 8th man in the history of the Blue Demons to coach the team. Joey's been a player and a coach under his father's tutelage. But will he follow in the coach's footsteps?
To say that I'm going to coach like coach would be, ludicrous. I just can't do that. And to say he'd coach like me is stupid. But I think he's been very successful in his way, and hopefully I'll be very successful in mine. I think the big difference is I got to coach to my personality.
He can't try to say, I wonder what my dad would do here. He has to be himself, always. Can't second-guess himself. He's got to coach, stand by his thoughts, his decisions. I wouldn't want to influence him in any way. Joey's his own man. I have every confidence in him, and he'll do an excellent job.
Coach Meyer's confidence in Joey is echoed by players and assistant coaches.
I think it's going to be a smooth transition because, see, the players know. I think it would be different if it was up in the air who would come in here next year. But we've known for a couple of years that Joey would be the new head coach, and Joey recruited everybody out there.
I'll be looking forward to playing for Joey because he is a good coach. He knows the game very well.
I don't feel there would be too much transition to make because Joey has been coaching on this father for so long, and I don't think it'll hurt the team at all.
With this season's nationally ranked team, Coach Meyer is sharing more responsibility with assistant Coach Meyer. But after this season, will the retired coach be able to play the role of innocent bystander?
I'll never second guess him, or I'll never give him any advice unless he asks for it. And that's the way I want it to be, and I'm sure Joey wants it that way.
See, I don't worry about people saying he's coaching or he's still the man. That doesn't bother me at all. I have confidence in what I'm doing, and I know who's doing it and who isn't doing it.
Stadium against the pool, and there you are sitting there, and two loudmouths from back in you saying, hey, showboat, hey this, what do you do?
The sport brings out the worst in people, and the best, but at those moments, it's pretty ugly. Sometimes I want to say something, and a few times I don't like myself a whole lot afterwards. I feel I should just keep my mouth shut. They bought their ticket, they can yell whatever they want.
Ray had a raspberry shirt that I'd bought him. It was Valentine's Day, and he wore this shirt, and this guy just got on Ray. So personal about that shirt, you know. And finally, he said, who got you that, or something like that, and I turned around and said, I did. I was aggravated.
Is he different after a loss at home?
Yes.
In what way?
We walk softly. After a loss, we walk softly.
He is more private. You know, he reads more, or he goes off by himself a little more. But as far as ranting and raving and things like that, no, he really doesn't.
I hear that you work for the local newspaper and that you take some pictures for the brochure.
They have used my pictures in the brochures and things like that. But I do it mainly just for me and Terry, because we have a den with all recent pictures on them, and I also do it for some therapy for myself.
Do you ever see the Denny Crum that you don't know in his reactions on the court?
No, I think he's more intense than normal, but basically his personality is the same. I get a kick at him because he's always slapping that tie, but...
If Digger was not a coach, what?
Probably something media stuff, or you know, that extroverted personality needs to go somewhere.
He needs an arena?
I think so, of some sort. Maybe business, PR, something like that, but he needs some kind of arena.
The superstition. Now, do you do something every game?
Right.
Tell me what it is.
Same thing. We do the same thing every game. I'll tell you a funny story, which I think is funny. I have a key to the suite here in my pocket, but Ray always goes to the front desk and gets the key. And I wait. You know, that long hall, and he walks all the way back, and I wait for him. But I do have the key where we could just come up and open the door, but we never do it that way.
I'd hope that someday he can look back on this career with real satisfaction, because it's been a good one.
Another exciting night of harness racing here at Maywood Park. Well, tonight is a very special night because guest of the management is Mr. Ray Meyer, the legendary basketball coach of the Chicago DePaul Blue Demons. Well, Coach, thanks so much for joining us tonight here at Maywood Park.
Well, I'm very happy to be here. It's a beautiful park. I come out occasionally, but I wished I had more time to come out here. I think it's a beautiful evening and a wonderful way to pass some time.
Yesterday, DePaul got some great news. They've been invited to the NCAA playoffs starting this weekend, and I know you're pleased you're going to Atlanta.
Well, we would have liked to have gone west, and I think we did it to ourselves on Saturday when we lost to Marquette. Prior to that, we understand that we were going out west. I think that's a much easier bracket, but in the game at Marquette cost us that tournament out on the West Coast. So therefore, we're in the Eastern Regional, and we're going to play Syracuse, one of the Big East teams. And there's one thing, Tony, I'm glad we're not at the Carrier Dome.
Returning to the winner's circle, number 2, Snag. Snagged is owned by Current Henshaw of Poplar Grove, Illinois, trained by Mr. Dwayne Melly, driven by Mark O'Mara. Ladies and gentlemen, in the winner's circle, to congratulate the winning team is Mr. Ray Meyer, of the legendary basketball coach of the DePaul Blue Demons. He congratulates the winning team, Mark O'Mara and Snag. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we'll remind you that Mr. Ray Meyer has consented to signing a few autographs for our Maywood patrons at the customer assistance booth located on the first floor, west end.
I'm very grateful to this team. This team holds a special place in my heart and in my memories. You've come further and done more than a lot of the more talented teams that played at DePaul. I'm very proud of you. Win or lose, I'll still be very proud of you. We have great competitors. We know that we don't have the superstars or the All-American basketball players. The way we have to win is we have to play with more intensity, more determination than any team we play. Otherwise, we're not going to win. We're not going to win on talent alone. This isn't the team when we had the superstars where we could get by on talent. Now we have to fight, scratch for every game we're going to win. And this is a team that surprises me whenever they do out on the court. Some nights they look great, and then again we're very mediocre. But when we're playing well, we're a fine ball club.
Ray Meyer's 42nd and final season as head coach of the DePaul Blue Demons was launched at the Metro Center in Rockford, with Northern Illinois supplying the opposition. The stronger and quicker DePaul team took command early and continually beat the Huskies to the ball and down the floor. Illinois State visited the Rosemont Horizon on December 3rd for what proved to be an historic occasion. Sparked by an extraordinary second-half performance by freshman Dallas Comegys, the Blue Demons rallied for a 69-66 triumph, giving the coach his 700th career win. The December 10th showdown with Georgetown featured a battle of two undefeated and nationally ranked teams. Led by All-American center Pat Ewing, the Hoyas galloped to a 15-point first-half lead. But what surfaced in the second half was a development that would become DePaul's trademark in 1983-84, the capacity to overcome any obstacle. Stimulated by a roaring sellout crowd, the Blue Demons responded with a thrilling two-point victory. Fittingly, it was senior co-captain Jerry McMillan who sealed the triumph with two last-second free throws. For the first time in 42 years, Ray Meyer took his ball club outside the United States for a basketball game when the Blue Demons journeyed to Japan for an appearance in the Suntory Ball. It was a nerve-wracking time, but DePaul managed to stay unbeaten by winning 2 games by a total of 3 points. Purdue supplied the opposition when the Blue Demons returned to the States, and DePaul was equal to the challenge. Junior co-captain Tyrone Corbin had a sensational game and was unstoppable in the second half. A West Coast swing in early January included a visit to St. Mary's that almost ended in the upset of the year. However, the determination of the Blue Demon players won out again, and DePaul escaped with a 2-point win. The national television cameras were in place when UAB visited the Horizon in mid-January, and the Blue Demons put on a show that brought down the house. An awesome 40-minute effort lifted DePaul to a 35-point victory and assured the entire country that Ray Meyer's band of fierce fighters were indeed for real. The Blue Demons rolled to their 13th straight victory and soared to number 2 in the wire service polls.
basketball players are coming. Where's Marty Embry? Can you say Marty? Marty Embry here?
Told me Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys. What about Lamone Lampley? Is he here? He's not here? I think the Georgetown game. I think when we got behind and Kenny Patterson and Tyrone Corbin, those kids just said, we're not going to lose. That second half, when they gutted it out against obviously a great basketball team, I really thought that in my moment, or in my mind, that was the moment I said, this is an excellent basketball team. First of all, they believe that they're unbeatable at home. That's one of the reasons they're unbeaten at home. The other thing is the crowd. We have a crowd that can get behind this team. It can intimidate opposing teams. So I think the crowd and the fact our kids just believe they're not going to lose.
In the minds of many basketball experts, DePaul's winning streak would surely come to an end at UCLA on January 28th. Instead, what happened almost made Pauley Pavilion history. The Blue Demons so dominated the Bruins that when the final buzzer sounded, UCLA had absorbed its second worst beating on its sacred home court.
Dallas can jump very little effort and gets up, and he's got the longest arms. I know when we had a blazer made for him, they put the thing on and the sleeves were up here. They had to cut the sleeves off and add 3 inches onto the sleeves.
I think it was a special night for me. I think it was a special night for the teammates. They gave Coach the 700 victory, and that was another team who stopped us from making the playoffs last year. And like I said, that was one of our goals, to beat the teams who beat us last year.
Lawrence hasn't had an opportunity to play, but Lawrence will be a great ball player before he leaves DePaul.
He has faced some really tough competition in Tyrone Corbin. But I'll make one comment about Lawrence. I think he's handled it with a lot of class.
I'm very fortunate to play on Ray Meyer's last team, and I will always remember that. That's for sure. Yeah, it's nice, but it's nothing like having that nice weather. Like right now in San Diego, it's maybe 92 degrees. Here, it's like 45, and I'm not used to that, but I've adapted very, very well to it. Some friendly people here.
DePaul and St. John's hooked up for a nationally televised encounter at the Horizon that featured an array of brilliant individual performances. None was more significant than Ty Corbin's rejection of Bill Winnington's last-second shot to send the game into overtime. With time running out in overtime and the score tied, junior guard Kenny Patterson ran the Indian play, which calls for the man with the ball to take the shot if he's open. Patterson was, and his 10-foot jumper lifted DePaul to its 17th consecutive victory.
Well, 2 things are different about this year's DePaul team. I've been here 6 years, and really, probably what stands out most in my mind is one, depth. This is the most depth we've ever had at DePaul. Usually we've been a 6-man team. We can go 9, 10 deep. I mean, players that could play at other situations. I think the other thing is Coach Meyer's done an excellent job of making these players play within their limitations. Kenny Patterson does a great job of penetrating, but Kenny's not the outside scorer maybe as some other people, but he's penetrating, get the ball inside. Kevin's played within his limitations. Marty's done a super job on the defensive board. You put all those together, add the chemistry. I think that's what's made this DePaul edition team 19-2. Plus, I think they're a little extra. I think they really feel that they want to send Coach out in a big way.
Defensive tenacity was the key to DePaul's comeback victory over Notre Dame on the Fighting Irish's home court. The win was an especially satisfying moment for the coach since it marked his final visit to his alma mater as the mentor of the Blue Demons.
Marty is probably the most improved basketball player on the team. He started out the season, he couldn't score a basket if they left him alone for an hour. And now he's getting, he gets his points in there, and he's done a great job defensively, and particularly against all the big names.
The 7-footers sometimes surprise me because they aren't as physical and as aggressive as I think they would be. For Georgetown or UCLA, of course I get up for those games. For All-Americans, I get up for those type of games. I think any center with any kind of reputation would get up for other centers for any game. If I could ever walk that lonely road. No.
Kevin Holmes, very pleasant surprise. He's doing much better this year. Kevin was going to be a question mark as a starting forward, but he came back stronger, more agile, and he is doing a real good job for us.
At that point, I felt we closed the doors on UCLA at that point, and it was a good feeling to know that my family and everyone saw that once we get it going, the fans get it going, and it really picks us up in the ball game.
The annual showdown with arch-rival Loyola was another high moment for the Blue Demons as Kenny P displayed the instincts of a cat and the craftiness of a burglar with his skillful play. In the battle for Chicago, DePaul had won out 93-77.
And we've won some big games like Georgetown, St. John's. But being associated with Coach Meyer has always been a thrill, regardless if I was on the staff or not. Jackson, Embry, Lampley, these guys, they go to class together, they go to lunch together, on the road, they go to dinner together. A lot more unity, Ray. Everybody loves one another. We're one big, happy family.
Tony Gimenez, a rather surprise in this sense that he came back, I think, thinking that his job was secure. If we're going to go any place in the tournament, we need Tony Jackson. He has great ability.
At first, I was sort of scared and nervous because I never played a college game in front of my family and all my friends. And now that I experienced it, if I was to go back next year and play again, I think I'd play a little better. This year, I used about 15 tickets, and I needed more. But my mom had bought 40 tickets in advance before we went out there to play.
Lamone Lampley, well, Lamone Lampley's illness kept him out of the starting lineup. He would have had a chance to start. He became ill, he had intestinal flu, and that gave Marty a lock on that job.
The reason I came to DePaul is because as a youngster in high school, I always wanted to play. I followed DePaul, and I always wanted to play for DePaul, and when DePaul recruited me, it was like a dream come true.
Revenge was on the minds of the Blue Demons when Dayton marched into the horizon on February 22nd. Just 4 days earlier, the Flyers had scored a stunning upset over DePaul, but there was to be no more upsets for the remainder of the regular season. DePaul forced Dayton to play its game, and when the smoke had cleared, the Blue Demons had registered a 20-point victory and gotten its measure of revenge.
Is probably one of the most underrated basketball players in the country. At 6'6", he does things that 6'8", 6'9" people find difficulty doing. At 6'6", he's rebounding very well. He has improved from game to game.
It's more leg strength and determination because I believe I can out-jump anybody. And I just go for it. that game meant so much to Coach, you know. We wanted him to have it, and I felt that we would get it for him. And I just felt that it would be nice to reassure him of the fact.
Kenny Patterson, throughout most of the year, has played his role very, very well. We ask him and not to be concerned about his scoring, be more concerned about his running the ball club. Kenny could have scored a lot more points, but he has sacrificed points for assists.
Well, basically, I just try to get it to the open man, and on the spur of the moment, if the man pops open while I'm handling the ball, I try to get it to him as quickly as possible. Yeah, well, in turn, it's really just like making a basket because you assisted on the basket, and it's kind of like your basket, too, your points.
Ty Corbin had his high-wire flying act ready for the national TV cameras when Louisville came to the horizon on February 26th. The Blue Demons shot past the Cardinals for win number 21, and then 2 days later added win number 22 with a resounding 31-point triumph over Evansville. The Purple Aces were no match for the hot-shooting Demons, who featured a balanced attack. Reserves Lamone Lampley, Raymond McCoy, Lawrence West, and Jack Latner made major contributions in what truly was an enjoyable victory.
Jack is one of my favorites. There's a boy that we asked to come out to help us, and he's done a real good job. And the surprising thing is, he's getting to be a fine basketball player, and we never had figured that.
It's an honor and it's a privilege to play on Coach Meyer's final season. Yeah, there's a few guys. I wouldn't like to mention any names, but I'm not afraid of them. You know, I can throw elbows just as hard as they can. They just hit him above the neck. I just have to hit him below the waist, that's all.
But Raymond is a fine, steady basketball player. We used Raymond in the latter half of the season as one to hold the lead, protect the lead. He's an excellent free thrower, and Raymond is worth his weight in gold here in practice.
I think it's more confidence than anything. Sometimes a player might be a bad free throw shooter, sometimes because of technique, but that's usually not the case. I would say more concentrated than anything else. Oh, yeah, definitely, because, I mean, you're only going to play the way you practice. You know, that's one thing I've always found out. So if you don't play hard, you don't play well.
Thank you.
It's all that matters.
Jerry McMillan is an outstanding athlete. He's contributed with defense and also great desire in playing. He gives us a lot of that fight and fire that we need.
Well, you know, when I get hot, it's just that I'm hot, and every time I get the ball, I want to shoot it. If Coach let me, you know, I prefer to shoot it from half court. Maybe he'll go win it. He'll start laughing, and we'll play a little better. But it's just that when I be shooting the ball and everything, I just try to, you know, shoot with confidence and just make all my shots and just have a good game and just win for him.
Never was the Blue Demon team more eager to play than in the second round of the NCAA postseason tournament, when a rematch with the Illinois State Redbirds was arranged in Lincoln, Nebraska. The red-hot shooting by Dallas Comegys and Ty Corbin enabled the Blue Demons to take command early and dictate the tempo. Many Blue Demons shined brightly on that Sunday afternoon in mid-March, particularly Corbin, who would go on to qualify for a tryout with the Olympic team, and Kenny Patterson, who controlled the flow of the game and connected on short-range jumpers. DePaul dominated the contest from start to finish, scoring a 75-61 win. Of all the moments that made Ray Meyer's last season so memorable, the one that will always stand out as the most touching and dramatic was the tribute DePaul and its fans paid him in his final game on the bench at the Horizon. The date was March 10th, 1984. The opponent was Marquette University, and the issue was never in doubt.
I started with a win in Chicago. Now I want to finish a win in Chicago.
That closes the book on the final chapter, the 42nd season and the 1984 DePaul Blue Demons. We look forward to the leadership of Coach Joey Meyer, the start of another basketball legend, the 1985 Blue Demons, and a national championship.